Yo, what's going on, mediocre gamer family? It is I, Anthony, sitting with my man AJ. AJ, you're fresh off of work. I'm fresh off of work. We're just two gamer boys living the gamer dream.
Mediocre gamers.
Mediocre gamers living the mediocre gamer dream. That's why we have day jobs. And then you are a lucky media. I mean, I say lucky. You're just. I wish I was you in a certain extent because you have played Spider-Man 2.
Yes, sir.
I have
Yes,
not,
sir.
not yet. And we're
Um,
gonna get into all that really quick though, because I hate when reviews like take forever, and we're gonna get into the review in a little bit. I know we got another topic, but I gotta know. You were telling me a little bit before we hit record, but scale of 1 to 10, what are we giving it so far?
okay, so disclaimer
Okay.
before I give that. I haven't beat the game
Yeah.
yet, unfortunately.
Okay.
I am on mission 21 out of 31. So I like
Okay.
and for people that
Yeah.
are
Okay. Like two
playing,
thirds.
they'll know and I know that right after this mission the story really kicks in. I've heard a
Mm-hmm.
lot of really good things. I've already absolutely loved the story, been fully engrossed, and I've heard it gets way better after, and so I'm really excited. Review wise, man, it's hard to say without beating it, but I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10 for now because I haven't beat the story yet. But I want to give it a 10 out of 10. I
I
really
mean,
do.
listen. Listen, because the original Spider-Man PS4, as you know, one of my favorite games of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely the best
Same.
Spider-Man game ever made. Um, so yeah, no, we can get into that. But before we jump back into Spider-Man, because we're gonna talk about Spider-Man, don't you worry. Um, AJ, Microsoft had a Xbox partner kind of
Yeah.
event thing.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it? Let's start there.
I liked it. It could have been better. There was one game. I'm trying to pull up the list right now. So,
Okay.
Ikaro Will Not Die
Ikara. Oh yeah,
looks
yeah, yeah. Okay,
super
okay.
good. I am really excited about that. I like those kind of like movement based games, and it
I was gonna
like
say it looked a
has
lot like Hi-Fi Rush.
yep has like really cool. I love the graphics, the colors. I think that game looks awesome.
Okay. Okay. I so here's the thing. I don't think that the event in itself was bad. Honestly, I think they're doing. We talked about this previously about how Xbox should invest into AA games, and
Hmm.
boy, are they.
Yeah, they are. Yes, they are. And
uh,
I really like what they're doing with this. I think it was
mhm,
honestly for what it was a great showcase. It could have been better, but
mhm.
when you compare it to a lot of others, I thought it was great.
And then that pulls me to another question though: of is Xbox being too nice? Because I don't know if you remember when they first announced Cyberpunk at E3 and they had the whole Microsoft stage and everybody was like, "Oh my god!"
Hmm.
Right? And it led me to believe that Cyberpunk was going to be an Xbox exclusive. It obviously wasn't. It was Cyberpunk 2077. Um, but that kind of leads me to Alan Wake because Alan Wake kind of is on that same sort of stage, similar stage. And it's not an exclusive. It's on PS5, PC, and obviously all of this is in an effort to, boost Game Pass numbers. But like when I think about the fact that Alan Wake doesn't have a physical release, I don't know if you know that part.
I
Alan Wake
didn't.
doesn't have a yeah,
I
Alan
hate that.
and granted, yeah, no, Remedy was very upfront about the whole process. They were like, listen, it's gonna be all digital, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. And they told us well ahead of time. But Microsoft can print some copies of some discs. And if Alan Wake 2 was an Xbox exclusive, I might have gotten an Xbox, AJ.
I understand that. So here's I think it's smart what they're doing. So, like Cyberpunk, for example, I think
Mm-hmm.
the whole idea behind that was to get you to associate Cyberpunk, the next big game, with
Mm-hmm.
Xbox. And I
Yeah.
think that right there is what their whole game plan is. Alan Wake is an exclusive, that's fine. Let's make people associate it with Xbox, though. When they think Alan Wake, they think of playing it on Xbox. It's a whole marketing ploy, right?
I
That's
guess. But when you just drop $69 billion, nice, on on the whole Activision thing, like obviously
mm-hmm.
that comes with IP, but what's gonna compete? Alan Wake 2 is the only thing that could have competed with Spider-Man 2 at this point in Xbox's life cycle right now. in my humble opinion. I mean, obviously, Stalker 2 could have like blew it out of the water, but as of right now, assuming Stalker 2 is just out of commission for the moment because it is, I feel
Um,
like
I will argue, and this is hard to argue because I was let down by this game, but I'll argue Starfield.
okay,
Oh, I
so
know.
okay,
Yep. And
okay,
here's why though, because a lot of people will compare it to the other space games that are out, right? Like you have
mm-hmm,
No Man's Sky. Well,
mm-hmm,
yes, there's a lot of things that are similar. No Man's Sky does a lot of things better for sure, but
one
there
thousand
isn't a
percent.
whole lot of combat. There isn't a whole lot of like.
It's not a through story,
No, there's
which is
not.
what
There's no
Bethesda
story.
ultimately is selling in Starfield.
There's no There's no story. There's yeah, and it like it doesn't feel like there's as many civilizations and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, Starfield feels like the best game to be your own space pirate free roam in that sense because there is stuff to
Yeah.
fight.
Mm-hmm.
And so
Stuff to fight
finally,
and then the story and then yeah, no.
yeah, so to finally get that game that I think people have always kind of wanted, I think there's something to be said about that, even though it was disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I
but
guess my whole thing is, oh, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I guess my whole thing is I'm waiting because like PlayStation 5 has had several moments. Like the first time I turned ray tracing on Spider-Man Miles Morales, I was like, oh shit. Like I'm
Yeah,
waiting on the moment. I'm waiting on the Xbox moment where I'm like, oh wait, an Xbox can wait a minute, it can do what? Which I think Stalker 2, whenever that game comes out, be vaporware. We don't know. um, whenever that game comes out, I feel like that'll be that moment. But I want Xbox to have the moment where it's like, oh my gosh, like wow, this feels next gen. And Starfield kind of does it, sorta, kinda. It gets real close.
so Starfield was supposed to be that game. That's the problem.
Yeah. And it's not to say that Starfield's bad. Starfield is great. Starfield is incredible. Starfield is probably Bethesda's magnum opus, and then they're gonna be making Elder Scrolls games to keep everybody else happy. But this was the game that Todd Howard wanted to make. He said
Yeah,
that at least once, right? This
multiple
is
times
this
for
is
like
their
20
baby,
plus
right?
years. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. This is the game they wanted to make. That's fine. It's not a bad game.
No.
But there's nothing in Starfield that makes me go like, oh wait, you can do what? It's like, I mean, granted, you can build a ship. That's pretty cool. But
It's like it checks all the boxes of what everyone wants
Mhm.
out of a space bounty hunter game, but that's not even all,
It
but like
doesn't push the
most. Yeah.
boundaries. It doesn't
No.
push the boundaries. Like Spider-Man, PlayStation 4. That was, again, I've told this story multiple times. I'm going to tell it till it doesn't happen no more. Spider-Man on PlayStation 4 is the reason I got a PlayStation 4. And the moment I turned it on and the hold R2 to swing blew my whole head open.
Yeah.
Blew my mind. I was like, what? This is not cutscene. This is game. What do you mean? Right?
It's a superhero game where you actually feel like the superhero. That's I feel like that's really hard to
Mhm.
do when you just have a controller in your hand. Like it's one thing like, when I did like VR Skyrim, like that was super fun to
Ooh,
be like
yeah.
a mage cuz I could, like fire in one hand, ice in the other, like like that was super fun. But
Right.
like in so VR, like I feel like it makes a lot more sense, but in gaming it's really hard to get like the feel of those abilities and powers
Mhm.
through a controller. And Insomniac does such a masterful job of that.
hmm hmm Not to mention the haptic feedback in the PlayStation
Oh,
5 controller. Okay, let me stop.
absolutely. Really quickly though, before we move on to Spider-Man, there are a few more
Yes.
games here in the Xbox show that they did talk about that I do want to talk about. So
Mhm.
yeah, that Yakuza Like a Dragon DLC seems
Yeah.
really odd, random, and not in character, but in character at the same time.
Yakuza, it does what it wants to do.
It does, but like it seems like there's like nothing like action wise really. I'm sure there is, but it just seems so
They
random and
they
out
showed
there.
they showed a little bit of fighting. It was like, ooh, defend your island, and like you're
Yeah.
fighting like random bad guys in like purple baggy suits or whatever. But yeah, no, Yakuza. I forget what the like Don Island. I don't
It
remember.
was it was
It was an island of
Don
sorts.
Doko Island.
Condoko Island. There we go. There were D's in there. Pause. And Yeah, no. So I like it. I mean, I like Yakuza. And again, the fact that Yakuza is no longer a PlayStation exclusive, kind of crazy. Because I remember the PlayStation 3 era and always wanted to play Yakuza, but only having a 360, and I was not cool enough to finesse a PS3 in my life at that moment. So I mean, it makes sense. But then like even that, the whole Yakuza DLC, and then even when you consider that Deathloop is also on Xbox Game Pass. There's a couple of other PlayStation games that are also on Game Pass. I came into this whole console generation thinking Microsoft won. That's what I thought. And then they dropped the ball at every possible turn.
Hmm.
Stalker 2 is not their fault. Every other possible turn, though. It just,
Yeah.
I don't know. And then this whole press conference, again, not bad. And I'm glad that they're leading into the double A space. I'm glad that they're leading into smaller games and smaller
Yep.
studios. It's what we want. It's what everybody wants. It's how you get better games and more games, right? It's just I'm waiting. I want them to have the moment where like it's like I gotta get an Xbox, like how I had to get a PlayStation 5, how I had to get Steam to like start playing Team Fortress 2 way back in the day.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? I'm waiting on that moment and I don't know. I have high expectations and this couldn't have met them unless they announced like a Halo Infinite that wasn't boring. Um
Yeah, no kidding. Like they that's what they need is like a good Halo. Again, they needed their plan was Starfield. That was their plan.
mhm.
Was Starfield to carry them, and it's already dropped off so bad. The numbers are horrible. But
Yeah.
so
They
with
stopped talking about that fast.
they did. With all that being said, moving on through this, there's
Mhm.
also RoboCop, Rogue City.
Oh
What do
yes.
you think
Oh
about
yes.
that?
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
super curious.
Okay, so here's the thing. I'm a fan of RoboCop. Have you ever seen the RoboCop movies?
I watched one like a long time ago, but
Okay. The thing about the world of RoboCop is that it is satire on capitalism and ultra violence,
mm-hmm.
and I feel that the team making this making the RoboCop game, there we go. I feel like they get it, and I feel like we're gonna get an interesting RoboCop experience. Now in the movies, he's obviously this big bulletproof hulking thing, but that's what kind of makes him interesting is that he has to think of ways that like to solve crimes and to help people because he effectively can't get hurt. So it makes him a better cop because he's like, I'm not at risk here. So I'm objectively gonna do what needs to happen regardless of what is gonna
That
happen
makes
to me.
sense.
Right? So it's like he's a better cop, and then like also the whole old Detroit, new Detroit thing. The lore of RoboCop is crazy, but the whole old Detroit, new Detroit thing and how like, it's set in the future and all that, like it makes sense and it lends itself to a game. And apparently, there's actually mechanics where you're actually solving crimes and going through interviewing people, doing things like that. So I'm excited. Now, I will say I'd have to see more of like how the game punishes you since you play as a character that can't get hurt.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I really want to see, and I've only seen this trailer they showed, so I'm a little blind
Oh,
on
you're missing out
this.
on the good stuff, brother.
Yeah, exactly. So just from this trailer here that they showed at the presentation, it felt very Wolfenstein like, which
Okay, yeah,
isn't a jab. It just felt like a very
yeah, no, no, no,
generic like shooter where you go through a campaign, right? There's nothing wrong with
yeah,
that, but that's what it felt like to me. But
okay,
the fact that they
yeah.
had the investigation bits, that's cool.
Mhm. Yeah, they didn't show it in that particular showcase,
Mm-hmm.
which is dumb because apparently it's a pretty big portion of the game. But a quick little 30-second trailer, and then also shout out to Microsoft. They're doing this right. Because with E3, there used to be like 2 hour blocks of television that they had to fill with useless interviews and a bunch of developer diaries about games nobody cared about or played. But this way, like now with this latest Xbox presentation, they had the QR code. So it's like, if you want the exclusive interview with the developer, scan this QR code. Like, I
Mm-hmm.
actually thought that was kind of cool.
That is
And so
super
you
cool.
get to see like what, like how many games were there? Like it felt like 20 or 30. Like you get to see
Uh,
20 or 30 games in 30 minutes.
yeah, it was a lot very quickly.
Like a lot of games. And so yeah, so I think RoboCop, we got to see it and it comes out very very soon. There's a lot of good stuff. I'm telling you, AJ, it's the best time to be a gamer. Not necessarily to work in the games industry, but it's the best time to be a gamer right now, I feel. But
It is
that's my
it
opinion.
it is a great time. There is two more games. One of them's kind of
Okay.
obvious though. One more game I really want to talk about though
Okay.
that we are definitely gonna play at some point.
Yes. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
The finals.
Yeah.
That
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
looks
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah.
fun. That
It looks
looks
crazy. It's
so
like
damn fun.
it's like if it's like if Team Fortress and Fortnite had a baby.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah,
it
seriously.
reminded me of. Yeah.
And then you
Um.
have a few no, that's a perfect analogy. That looks so fun. It looks so fun. It looks like
It
it's
looks very
one v
fun.
one, I think, like team v team, I
So I
think.
think so. It probably has like a Quake type of thing. Oh yeah, it's like if Quake, Fortnite, and Team Fortress had a baby. Like it's like very fast paced, very, and then everybody has powers and different loadouts, different weapons, and then like the way it all kind of comes together makes sense, and it looks cool and snappy. So yeah, no, it looks fun, and hey, mediocre gamer family, if you want to see AJ and I scream at each other a lot in the finals, let us know in the comments.
I can tell you one thing: we certainly won't be getting to the finals. And then last thing I think we really have to talk about here, Alan Wake 2. They showed a little Alan Wake 2.
They
Uh,
did. And then here's the thing. I don't know why. Because like Alan Wake 2 does not need publicity. I understand. I'm actually checking the Metacritic score right now because apparently there's two different Metacritic scores for the PC and PS5 version. Right now,
mhm.
the PS5 is at an 88, and then the PC version is at a 92. If we average them both together, hang tight pretty please, because if you take 190, which is the number that you get when you add them together, you divide it by two. Did I do that right? I did not do that right. I have now, but about 180. There you go. Average Metacritic score of 90. There's only 4 Xbox scores in, so it doesn't have a Metacritic rating on Xbox yet, which is funny. But yeah, no, it's shaping up to be another one of them games. Again, Tears of the Kingdom, Baldur's Gate 3, Alan Wake 2, Resident Evil 4 remake. Like these are 4 Game of the Year Spider-Man 2, 5 Game of the Year contenders, and that's not even counting the weird shit. Like that's
Yeah,
not even counting your Street Fighter sixes. That's not counting your Dave the Divers. That's not counting 1,000 games I'm forgetting.
so
Yeah,
much. Yeah.
yeah. Again, probably the best year to be a gamer
Well,
right
and
now.
again, also, which these aren't going to contest for Game of the Year, but Mario Wonder and Sonic Superstars
Oh
just
yeah,
came out. Both of those, absolute, and both of those seem to be
incredible
absolute
games.
gems. Yes, dude.
Incredible games. There's something for everybody. I've never
Yeah.
seen a year where there was something for
No,
everybody.
it's
Like
been wild.
when we were coming up in the 360 PSP era, it was Call of Duty and that was it. Like Call of Duty and dominated
Yeah.
everything
I
every
mean, you
year,
had
every
like
summer,
things
every
here and
fall.
there, and like like any single player games, either big ones like Uncharted, Last of Us,
Hmm.
all they all felt like niches almost to like
Yeah.
the more like it was like oh like this little group of people goes and plays those. Everyone's on
Hmm.
Call of Duty.
And then the fact that with was it Uncharted 2 or 3 where they had to promote it with the multiplayer that you got off the Subway
Yep.
cups, like
Yep.
the fact that that's how they had to do it, like we're in a different era of gaming, and I feel like this is the era of gaming that a lot of people have been waiting for a
Uh
very
huh.
long time, with the
Yes.
strong single player narratives, and then of course the multiplayer space isn't going anywhere.
No,
Fortnite still
I don't want it
dominates.
to. That needs it still needs to be.
Yeah, no, it's fun. It's a fun space to be. I mean, Quake Online was like the game for a while,
Mm-hmm.
like all
My
through like the late 90s, early 2000s.
my roommate had a really good quote this week, and he's like, man, he's like, I just really got like a bigger appreciation for single player games because he's like, if the boys aren't on, then I have like something to do in my free time. He's like, I have these single player games that like, if I like they stop making them like they used to, like I don't know what I would do half my time because people don't have time to get on and play all the time anymore. And I was like,
Yeah,
that's
that's it's called
very true.
life, man, and that
Yeah.
sucks because I wish we could just play video games all day. That'd be
Oh
dope.
man.
Um,
Take me back to like middle
but
school
yeah.
summer.
Oh man, listen, middle school. What was I doing middle school summer? I was watching a lot of Law and Order SVU. Yep,
I
that's
was
what I
playing
did. And
Skyrim.
ooh, yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Like think
But
about
yeah,
that.
no,
Like the think about if the next Elder Scrolls came out and you were like it was summer and you're a kid. You have all summer, nothing to do but play Elder Scrolls. Like, oh,
yeah.
that sounds
Oh
peak.
man. Yeah, no, that sounds ideal, and we're getting old, AJ. I just need you to accept that.
Yeah,
And
quarter way through.
yeah, but no, shout out to the Xbox partners event because, and then there's a handful of other games that just look generic, but you want to know something? They're double A titles, so they're probably gonna look generic until you play them. That's how most of them work.
Yep.
Um, so excited to see what's coming up. I think RoboCop is the next. No, Alan Wake's already out. So Alan Wake, RoboCop, and then like a host of other things coming next year, which is fun, which is great because all the movies are getting pushed back because of the strikes. But this is a gaming podcast.
Yes, it is a mediocre
Okay,
gaming
so
podcast.
exactly, like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, so AJ, my friend, my guy, my best friend here. You have played Spider-Man 2, okay?
Yes, because I'm better than you.
Yes, exactly. How many hours? I know you're on mission 21 out of 31, but like how many hours would you say you're in? Because obviously you can get collectibles, you could do side stuff. Like how many hours
That's
roughly would you say?
that's a great question. I would give it probably 12 to 15. I've had a
12 to
really
15. Okay.
busy week.
I mean, no, that's fine because apparently the story is about 20 to 25
Yeah.
hours, depending. So, like, no, you're right on pace. You're right on pace. And so, okay, I know you've met Venom by this point in the game. The
Mm-hmm.
voice of Candyman is Venom. How great is that?
It's fantastic. The voice acting just all around is phenomenal. The returning characters, the returning villains in this game
Okay.
all have something interesting going on.
No spoilers, by the way, for
Nope.
my people watching at home. We
No,
discussed this, but okay,
absolutely
continue.
no spoilers on Spider-Man this time around. I want to give examples, but I don't even like because I could give general ones. Like there's like
Mhm.
a handful of villains that have like gone off and done like this or this, and I just like I can't hint at it at all because that's technically a
Yeah, no, I
spoiler.
got you because it ties back to the story. I got you.
But you'll see villains, old villains in completely new settings at a like
Hmm.
almost out of the blue. You'll be like, "Oh, they're doing that now."
Okay.
And it's really really interesting. The very first scene is kind of bonkers. The first mission, it's so by the way, when you get the game and you start it,
Yeah.
if you don't have a lot
Yes.
of time, like if you're like, "Oh, I got dinner in 30 minutes," don't start it. It's like an hour this first
Yeah.
mission
Okay.
thing, and it's fucking crazy, dude. Like one of the best
Okay.
intros, if not the best intro to any game I played. Like I
Okay.
was like mouth dropped multiple times.
Okay.
It
Okay.
was peak. Um, the new abilities are fantastic, and
I
how
was
they
just gonna
work.
ask.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say because, like, the sequel itis thing where it's just like, oh, you were just this amazing super god in the last game, but you
Mm-hmm.
hit your head on a rock and now you have to restart. How do the powers kind of transition into the new game
So
in this bad boy?
really like what they did here, and a lot of the
Okay.
abilities you upgraded to in the last game are
Mhm.
standard in this game, and you unlock new
Right. Okay.
abilities. Excuse me, in the tree. Now there are some
Okay.
old abilities that you do like you have to like remember the focus bar where you could like press circle
Mm-hmm.
triangle and do like the
Mm-hmm.
finisher right. So you have to build that back up, stuff like that. I feel like that's kind of
Right.
expected. But a lot of it like in the first game when you're in air and you press X, he'll do that like look quick zip, and you'd have to upgrade it to do
Mm-hmm.
two in the air. That's standard. The
That's standard.
hold
Got you.
X while you're running on the ground to do a long leap,
Um,
standard.
for
Don't need to
sure.
upgrade like so stuff
Okay.
like that. I think they did really well. They got rid of some gadgets that don't make a return. R.I.P. my impact webs. The one where you fire it. And
Man, shout out to Impact Webs, because those came in handy.
those were the best thing ever. They're gone. Miss them.
Okay.
But I like how they changed up the gadget. So instead of holding R1, I think, to have the wheel and select a gadget,
No,
there's
it's on the D-pad,
four.
right?
Yep. No.
Not the
So
D-pad.
they
Okay.
they have four pre-selected ones. You hold R1
Okay.
for gadgets, and it's R1 plus like X, square, circle, or triangle. So yeah, so four options. Or you
Ooh.
hold
Okay.
L1 for your abilities, and again X, square, circle,
Okay.
triangle.
Okay.
So like
That makes
Miles,
sense.
it'll be like his Venom punch. You hold L1 square, and then he'll punch.
Got you. Okay, yeah, because they were kind of alluding to that with like Spider-Man Miles Morales a little
Yep.
bit. That's sort of how Miles played
Yep.
actually.
Yep,
Minus
exactly.
the gadgets were the same, but yeah, no, with the Venom and everything. Okay. So okay, we are obviously Spider-Man people. We obviously love Spider-Man. I remember I was in kindergarten. They told us to draw a self-portrait, and I drew a picture of Spider-Man. I think my dad still has that somewhere. So if let's say little Sally Sue, who's like 22, is like, yo, I want to play this new Spider-Man game. Do you feel that Sally Sue would be able to appreciate it beyond just like, oh my god, it's Spider-Man?
Yes, just because like
Okay.
again the theatrics like aren't it's constant action. It's not like this
Okay.
like I mean there is story and it's good story, but it's not a lot
Mm.
of slow beats. It is
Okay.
just
Yeah.
non-stop just like whoa, like just shit is just happening. It's so good.
Okay. Okay.
Um
Uh, okay.
I lost my train of thought.
No, it's okay. You're saying everything's just happening, nonstop action, and so I guess you were maybe getting to. Let me know if I'm wrong. You're maybe getting to that someone brand new coming in is just like, I just want to jump into Spider-Man 2. I don't really care about the character. I just want to
Oh,
play the game.
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay.
Someone new could. You're not really. You are missing stuff by not playing the first one in Miles, but you're like
Hmm.
you could easily. They've crafted this story so well to where you could easily hop in no problem as long as you have at least
Okay.
somewhat of a background of who Spider-Man just is, like his abilities
Right.
and
Okay.
everything. They and oh, speaking of just like this little like the little stuff they nail, like the transitions in this game. The transitions
Oh,
are
man, listen.
chef's
Listen,
kiss.
when I saw that trailer or the announcement that they did, was it the PlayStation event they did? Whatever it was, where you were just like you picked a spot on the map, fast travel,
Uh
and
huh.
then the cutscene, and you're just there. I I had to watch it like 20 times because I was like, how? It's like, how do you
Anywhere
do
on the
that?
map, yeah. And it's they even said they you have to like hold X, and so a lot of people are like, oh, when you're holding X, that's a loading screen. They're like, no. We just did that so in case you didn't want to go there, you can release X. They're like, we could have
God,
just
it's
tapped
good.
it and immediately been there.
Yeah. Beyond impressive if you know anything about how games work.
Yeah.
And if you don't know how games work, basically the way it usually works is as you're moving through the world, it starts to render stuff in front of you, stops rendering stuff behind you, right? Obviously, as games got more complex, consoles got more powerful, you could do more kind of with that and sort of plays with your perspective a little bit. But the fact that you can go anywhere on the map instantly tells me that everywhere is rendered at all times.
I either that or they just got to load really fucking fast.
I mean, listen, and then you got to understand too with Insomniac working super tight with Sony. I don't know if Sony bought Insomniac. Doesn't really matter.
They
But
did.
with them working super tight, they did okay, great. That's why we're not getting Sunset Overdrive 2.
I'm so that game
But
is so good.
and then when you play it and you play Spider-Man, you're like, okay, this makes sense.
Yes, you see it. You see that they definitely started with this and used that as a base for
Mhm.
Spider-Man. 10
Yeah,
out of
no, for
10.
sure. For sure. Listen, and it makes sense. You're like, okay, yeah, no, like, yeah. Then of course you get the wingsuit in the new game, and you can like fly and like skip the bridges, and the map is
Wingsuits.
twice as big, but it's still 75% water. So
Yeah.
twice as big. But yeah, no, yeah, going back into Insomniac, the fact that both the performance mode and the quality mode are just ray traced is kind of crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
They
and I
optimized
know
the
you
shit out of
noticed.
it.
I mean, you got 5 years and you already had a great base, so to make it bigger and prettier, crazy. Now, this is a really random question because we know it's a 9 out of 10. I know you want to give it a 10 out of 10, but I'm gonna let you beat the story and then I'm gonna let you know why you're wrong. No, I'm playing. Um, but we also know that Insomniac is working on a Wolverine game.
Yeah.
Okay, we know that they've announced it. We've seen the trailer. How excited? How excited are you for Wolverine now that you've seen Spider-Man 2 and what they're capable of doing?
Oh, I've been excited since before Spider-Man 2. I trust Insomniac completely, and that's scary to say because people have said that about every gaming studio, and every gaming studio has let everyone down. But
Every time.
genuinely, Insomniac has yet to miss really, unless it like some of their spin-offs. Okay, whatever, that's a spin-off. Like if you're playing Secret Agent Clank on your PSP, I don't know what you expected, but
They can only do so much.
exactly. Um, but they don't miss.
Yeah, no,
So
going from Sunset Overdrive to Spider-Man 1 and 2
and
is kind of a three-peat.
Sunset Overdrive is such an underrated game. They made the Ratchet and Clank games, like those are huge. They
Yeah.
made the Sly Cooper games, like those aren't misses. Like they don't miss.
Oh yeah, Ratchet and Clank. Was it Drift Apart, whatever?
Rift Apart was the
Drift
recent
Apart.
one.
Yeah, no. Again, they did something similar where you can kind of just go to a different dimension just on command. Now that
Instant,
you
yeah,
can kind of see the loading a little bit, sort of, because you
yeah.
got to
Because when
jump
you're
through a
going
portal.
through it, you have to do like a whole
Yeah, you can kind
animation.
of see that, and so then that going into Spider-Man 2, and you just go places again. Kind of crazy
Oh
from a
yeah.
technical standpoint. I'm not a technical guy, but I know that that's kind of
So
crazy. And on most, oh, I'm sorry.
no. Finish. My bad.
No, I was just saying, like, to know that we can do that is kind of crazy on a
Yeah,
console, because consoles have been holding gaming back forever. So yeah, no, it's
absolutely.
trippy.
It's raised one question for me though. Why
Okay.
haven't we gotten being able to fast travel anywhere in a world before? Well, I'm sure we have before. Why isn't it more normalized? And I'm not saying instantly. That's hard. But
Mhm.
being able to click any point on a map and just load that point in, why hasn't that been done more often?
Mm, Well, I think the short answer is there's less amount of games to do that with. Like with Spider-Man, it makes sense. Like, it makes perfect sense, right?
Mm.
But I can't see From Software doing that with Dark Souls. You see what I'm saying? I couldn't see them doing that with Elden Ring.
No, and those games shouldn't. But I'm saying, like, let's say
Right.
Skyrim, for example. Why can't I just be like,
Okay.
boop? If I've been there, obviously, if you, I understand,
Yeah,
like, you have
yeah.
to be there. But if
You gotta
I've been
unlock
there,
it and
yeah,
gameplay
if I've
loop. Yeah.
unlocked, like, how Spider-Man does it is like the area. You have to do enough challenges in like a section in New York, and then fast
Mhm.
travel's unlocked for that area. I think
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
great. Why haven't more games done that where I can, okay, I've explored enough of this area to where I can fast travel anywhere or just literally anywhere I've walked. Just boop, place a marker down and spawn there. That would be it's just so convenient. I don't have to go to this point to then travel here. I could just pop right next to it.
So, two things. One, because Insomniac are just that Insomniacs. They
Yeah.
probably I don't. So okay, shout out to Insomniac, because we haven't heard a whole lot of video game crunch. And if you're not up on the technical terms in the gaming industry, video game crunch is what happens when game development deadlines are coming close, and a lot of your favorite game developers don't sleep. There was a whole thing with like the wives of Rockstar. They wrote like an open letter that was like, "Hey, can our husbands come home because they're working on
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto 5 and we miss them."
I'm pretty
Yeah, no, it's a
sure
thing.
the roof at Nintendo has, or it's one of the Japanese gaming companies has like a bunch of netting up so people don't commit suicide.
Yes, yeah, so they don't jump. Yeah, it's because they want to leave, because Mario has to
Correct.
have individual hairs rendered. But the thing about it is, I haven't heard those reports coming from Insomniac, and so it makes me think they just optimized a 5-year window. It sounds like they went straight from Spider-Man, hit the ground running on Spider-Man 2, and yeah.
Well, and I think like they're willing to take their time, and I think Sony's willing to let them take their time. They took 5 years to make this game that already had the base. And I'm
Mm,
fine with that. Take your time. Yeah, you had the base, but game development is getting harder and harder. It's only going to take longer
mhm.
and longer.
But
Everyone needs to accept that and just be patient.
to play devil's advocate, because I'm never on the side of corporations, but to play devil's advocate, most gaming companies aren't Sony,
Yeah, that's true. That's absolutely true. Especially like the
right?
the ones that have I feel like really where you see this are the ones that have gotten big but aren't
Mhm.
owned by Xbox or Sony. They are
Oh
like you see like
yeah,
like CD Project Red, like they're on their own.
D
That's where you
Project
see
Red,
that like
BioWare way back
uh-huh.
then,
That's
yeah,
Activision Blizzard, I'm pretty sure
BioWare Magic.
and they
Oh yeah,
they
up until
probably still
recently,
are a
yeah.
bit, but yeah. I I think that while I hate that
Hmm.
companies are buying out all the game developer studios because it just create like it's a very lazy way to have artificial competition between PlayStation and Xbox because they're just buying exclusivity
Yeah,
rights. And in the case of
yeah,
Microsoft, they buy them and then die. I mean, Rare was fucking cooking back in the
yeah,
day. Xbox buys them,
yeah. Rare,
dies. Like,
Radical Entertainment, Volition. The list
yes.
goes on.
Like, and these are
The list
studios that were like
goes on.
cooking with gas, and they just bought them and did nothing. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I hate it, but at the same time, then you in the same token, you'll have studios will buy or like big companies will buy studios out, and now all of a sudden they have more funding to make a game. So it's a
Yeah.
double edged sword there. Like all of a sudden they have enough people, like, but then like the corporation's only getting fatter, and it's harder and harder to make a small studio.
A
Then
little guy.
like
Yeah. Which
it's
is why something like
just
Dave the Diver is so special, and why
mm-hmm.
like something like Baldur's Gate 3 from Larian is so crazy.
Yeah.
Right? Even though they had, obviously they had like a whole lot of bankroll going on behind the scenes, like there wasn't a whole lot of crunch. They took their time with Baldur's Gate 3, and it became the game of the year. I'm calling it Baldur's Gate 3 game of the year.
It's gonna be game of the year.
Um,
It just like I think Spider-Man has a chance now just because they did do a lot and the story well
insane.
because it is insane. The thing about Baldur's Gate is yeah it has like all these branching stories, but it's stuff we've seen before. And it's almost overwhelming to the point where you can't have like this like really good narrative that like this is the story. You've all these like
Yeah.
other like
It's just stuff you can do.
you have all these good strings of stories, and yeah, you have the main one that's good, but it's really hard to make all those varying stories fantastic. Whereas Spider-Man
hmm
is this one narrative that is fantastic because it's focused on it.
hmm Yeah, no, and then so here's the thing, because Spider-Man has a curse. Spider-Man never wins Game of the Year, even when it's Game of the Year. Anything Rockstar makes never wins Game of the Year. Like I don't think Grand Theft Auto 4 won Game of the Year. Um, let's see, Baldur's Gate 3. Yeah, no.
It's gonna
Long
get
story
it.
short, Baldur's Gate 3 is gonna get it, and so Spider-Man 2. So okay, I also want Alan Wake 2 to get in the conversation. It probably won't because apparently it launched with technical issues, which Spider-Man didn't. I'm only a little mad about.
No,
Um,
no, no, no. There haven't been reports, and I'm surprised there haven't been. Me and
Talk
all
to
my
me. Talk to me.
friends
Give me the scoop. Give me the scoop.
Me and all of my friends have had issues. Not like bad, not bad. Nothing game break. They're all like goofy, silly glitches. They are nothing game
Huh.
breaking, nothing console crashing. But like, there was one time like I was sad. It was actually like a pretty touching scene. I'm not gonna give too much away, but
Oh,
like
I got you.
a side character dies.
Okay.
And it's like a side of a side. Like it's a side character,
Yeah, no,
but
somebody you wouldn't pick to die.
but like it makes sense, and it's like a really touching mission because the whole time they're about to die as they're
hmm
talking like it, but Spider-Man doesn't know it, and you're helping him out like one last time kind of thing. And
Sure.
so they like you come back and like they're not there, and there's an ambulance.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
like what sucked for me is the ambulance were all just T-posing, like the ambulance people. And so Spider-Man was talking to them, but they weren't talking back. And so like I didn't hear the full conversation like that went down.
Yeah.
So like that part kind of
But
sucked, but like it wasn't game breaking. It was just like, damn, I wish I heard that.
yeah, but like apparently Alan Wake 2 has, and again, there's a day one patch.
Hmm.
We haven't heard what happens after the day one patch. These are all from people with review copies. We're not those people because we're mediocre. Apparently there's like one or two hard locks in there, dog. Like a couple of glitches where like just a thing doesn't happen or like a tutorial doesn't prompt you, so the thing just doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like apparently there's a couple of hard locks that are just glitches. Now, if those aren't there, this is the general consensus. When the game works, when it's firing on all cylinders, it works. When it doesn't, though, it does not.
That's
Probably why it
scary.
has an 88
And
on PS5.
that's what I hate about games right now is games come out, and I hate this whole day one patch thing. There shouldn't need to be a day one patch because when you release a game, it should be finished. Damn it!
I
I'm
agree. I agree. I
so firm on
agree.
that.
However, I understand it. I don't like it, but I get it.
Yes,
I don't like it, but
absolutely,
I get it.
absolutely. Because again,
You
also
know,
from like a company standpoint, while I do, yes, I never want to be on the corporation side. I get it because you do have to make a profit. You've dumped millions of dollars into this. It's like okay, like
listen, we got to get it out by Christmas,
we got
dog.
to get this out, especially like in time for holidays. So I do understand that like we can't push this off till next Christmas. Like it's coming
Sure
out for
can.
Christmas. It's gotta be this one. We cannot
So if
afford it. So I get it.
and plus like this is also what I hate. Not my mediocre gamer family. Y'all are cool. When people go online and attack developers for like a game being bad, like they're gamers too. You think they got in this for fun? Like
Yeah,
you think they just got this just on a humbug? It's hard to be in game development, game writing, game development, artwork. It's hard to break in. You think they're
yeah.
here just no, they want it to be good. They want it really bad to be good.
And we mentioned it last week how you can get more
Yeah.
money going elsewhere as a software engineer than you do as a coder for
Mhm.
a video game. The people that are coding video
Mhm.
games are there because they want to code video games. And I
10
think
times out of 10 and y'all making it hard.
anyone who blames a developer for the most part. Now, of course, sometimes they are lazy, but for the most part, it's rare, but it happens. For the most part, it's you're on the wrong side. Like it is all the corporations for the most part that are
Yeah, no,
pushing
it's
it.
it's
Marketing
publishers.
pushes it really bad.
Um yeah, marketing.
Investors, they
Another
see
thing people
dollars
don't
just burning.
remember. It's another thing people don't remember is that the internal teams don't really talk to each other.
Yeah,
The
they don't.
writing doesn't exactly talk to the art direction, doesn't exactly talk to programming. Like programming and art direction is where it meets the most, but the marketing does not talk to the game director. They're like, hey, what's this game about? Oh, it's about a Greek god killing a bunch of Greek gods. Great, see you in like 3 months. And
Which
that
blows my
goes
mind.
on.
Like I feel like a lot of these games companies need like one or two people that are helping manage all of that and keep communication flowing between all of them. I think that would help a lot. Like art and writing
For
need to
sure.
be in contact because art gives the vibe of the game. Well, writing needs to take that vibe and make it into a good story. Or art needs to take the story that the writers have started and create the vision for them. And then I think the writers and art people could work together on that art, touch it up, make it better, be like, this is what we're envisioning because of this payoff, because of this going on.
Sure.
And I think that would make things just go smoother. I
Oh,
could
one
be
thousand
wrong.
percent. And the great studios do that. Like Sony Santa Monica does that. Insomniac has to do that. But we also have to remember these are like multi-million-dollar, like two, three, four, 500 man projects, 700,000 people working on a project at a time,
Yeah.
right? So I mean, obviously things are gonna slip through the cracks, but it's also like it's hard. It's real difficult for everybody to talk to each other. And I'm not saying that it's right, AJ. I hate it, but it's hard to get 5 people on the same page.
Yeah,
So now
absolutely.
I gotta move 1,000 people to like understand a vision. I don't
Yeah.
know, and then it becomes a slippery slope.
That's the thing is like even with movies, I'm like I don't understand how they get that shit together. Like they like that's such a massive team, such a
Listen,
massive project.
oh my goodness, I remember it was Avengers Infinity War. Okay,
Hmm.
we're gonna get back to gaming. It was Avengers Infinity War, and I remember waiting for the post credit scene, and I remember like looking at how small everyone's name was on the credits and how long the credits were.
Yeah.
Have you ever like? Do you remember that moment where you're just like, "Holy shit!" Like, wait a
Because you're
minute.
waiting for this post credits, so you might as well, and you're in the theater, so you might as well just sit there, and you're just like,
And it was
whoa,
like 10 minutes of names this big going,
yeah,
just going,
uh huh.
going,
They had
and a
everyone and their
similar roster.
mom on those movies.
And a similar roster is for a lot of these games. Last of Us Part 2, similar roster. Spider-Man 2, for sure, a similar roster. Um,
Yep.
to pick one of these big games, and then like what? Like, didn't The Last of Us Part 2 cost 200 million? They didn't even say how much Spider-Man cost. I know it's a grip. Like,
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. So I guess with all this being said, what is it? We're coming up on time here.
we are coming up on time.
What do you want out of? And I know you haven't played this one, but what do you
Yes.
want? You've still seen enough though to where you know a
I've
lot of
seen a
the
good amount.
advancements they've made, right?
For
What do you
sure,
want
for
out of
sure.
the next game?
Out of a Spider-Man 3?
Is they said somewhere I need to find
Yeah.
this. Spider-Man
Okay.
3 is going to be like their end game for this Insomniac Spideyverse.
Yeah, for this chapter. Yeah, I figured I would like, that's tricky. Because what I would want from the Spider-Man 3, I would want from the Wolverine game. I would want it to be like The Last of Us versus Uncharted. Versus oh yeah, we gotta save the day. Oh no, like da, da, da. Like like even in Uncharted, like Nathan Drake is a murderer, but it never feels like it, right?
Mm,
Spider-Man, definitely kills a couple people. Never feels like it though, right?
Yeah,
I would love for Spider-Man 3 to still be fun, still be plucky, still be joyful. Maybe Peter, I don't know, actually gets Mary Jane pregnant. Who knows? Um, Maybe something like that happens.
hmm
And then Miles has to take over because I don't know, Galactus is coming. Who pick something? Like yeah, I would love it to be more serious. I don't know where you go as far as the powers. Like obviously the wingsuit, they gave us that, the web suit, web wings, whatever. They gave us that. They hinted at it in the first game. Gave us that powers. I don't know. Miles teleports at some point. Like I don't even know where you go as far as the powers. Like I want it darker and maybe more focused and maybe just maybe the combat can be a little bit improved instead of just throwing everything at you. Maybe you could do like a black box Assassin's Creed type thing where it's like, yo, I gotta stop this bank from getting robbed, but maybe I can go in from the vent and come in and then like
that'd
turn
be
off their
really cool.
machines
Like
and
multiple
something like that,
pathways.
like multiple
Yeah,
paths, and then like J. Jonah Jameson like gets on and like talks about like Spider-Man just punched a bunch of thugs, or like Spider-Man deactivated police scanners, is like it like reacts
yeah,
to
that'd
like
be
their
super
thing.
cool.
That could be fun. That could be
That's a
super
great idea.
fun. Yeah. Um, I don't know if they introduce multiple endings, like a good and a bad ending in a Spider-Man game. That would be crazy. But it's uh I don't even know what else to ask because Insomniac has given us so much great shit, dog.
Yeah. So you already got your dark one. The story is a lot
Okay.
darker.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay. Okay.
Venom's
So
in it,
then
so
I
I feel like that makes sense, right? I mean,
yeah, yeah,
Peter's gonna go
Venom
through his arc.
yeah.
um,
Yeah, for sure.
they here's and okay, so I'm gonna give a warning, and I promise this is not
Warning.
bad.
Warning. It's not bad. Warning, it's a
Very
9 out of 10.
very
If you don't want anything, leave now. Okay, go ahead, hit me with it.
very absolute minor spoiler.
Okay, come on.
We see. I'm not gonna explain how at all, but we see Doctor
I don't want to
Strange.
know how. Just give just
We
give me
see a
a
Doctor Strange like portal, like type portal, right from the
Okay.
movies.
Okay.
At some point, so it's in the
At some
world.
point, okay. Yeah.
Um, and during this, there's just a very small section where we get taken somewhere else.
Okay, somewhere else. We
It's
don't even
on
need to know where.
rails. It's on rails, so you can't like explore it all.
Of course. Of
But
course.
just for like probably 15 seconds, we're somewhere else, not New York, and we come back.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say. That's spoiler, but that leads me into I want the next game to have some new locations. Like let's not expand New York at all, and
Yeah, yeah.
add like the central hub to Paris, the central hub to I don't know Tokyo. You know, like where I could
Yeah,
like
like Spider-Man around the
open
world.
portal and dip out somewhere and like
That could be fun. That would lend itself to ooh.
yeah.
AJ, I think you're describing a Spider-Verse game, my brother.
I
I think you're describing a Spider-Verse game, right?
definitely could do that too. I don't want them to do Spider Verse just because multiverse is becoming already overdone. I think across media, and I think they should just kind of leave it out. Maybe you know you can mention it and hint towards it. They do in this game a bit.
Right.
They
When
confirm
Doctor
it's
Strange is in it, you kind of have to.
when they confirm it's real. Like one of the things you get are these like Spider Verse little drones, and I think
Hmm.
they haven't said anything, but I'm pretty they hint that it's like, oh, where did these come from? And it's like
Yeah.
spider drones from other multiverses,
Yeah. From
right?
other wherever. Yeah.
And so they kind of confirmed that it's a thing already through that, and it's the same
Yeah.
kind of
Okay.
vibe as the ones from Miles Morales.
Ooh. Ooh. Hold up. Wait a minute.
What?
Okay. Wait a minute. What if? What if? Watch this. Spider-Man 3. Spider Gwen. Boom. Third Spider-Man right there.
I I think that's very plausible, but I
Yeah. I
honestly
mean, it's Spider-Man. Anything's
I
plausible.
don't want it, and here's why. I want
Okay.
a
Break it down.
different Spider Girl than Spider Gwen because she's the only one that gets recognition. Like I would love like a Spider Woman, or like there's tons of
Jessica
other
Drew. Yeah.
yeah
Oh yeah.
like there's
No.
tons of other like Spider Women across all the Spider Man comics, and I would like to see someone else than Spider Gwen, especially since we haven't seen Gwen Stacy. I I think we should have a different one.
Okay. Okay. That's fair. I mean, and again, there's an infinite amount of spider people just in the multiverse of spider
Make a new one.
things.
Shit.
So They could do it. Yeah, no, they could just, I don't know. They could make it Gwen Drew. It's like if Jessica Drew and Gwen Stacy like fused together like Voltron.
Would love it.
Who
I would
knows?
love it.
Who
Like,
knows?
I am super down for them adding a third Spider Person and it being a female. That's an awesome idea. Please don't do Spider
Just not Gwen
Gwen.
Stacy.
She's just been done too much. I think.
Okay, okay, okay. That's fair. That's fair. AJ, is there anything else you want to tell the people or me or anybody about Spider-Man numero dos?
You're wasting your time if you haven't bought it already.
Listen, Alan Wake 2, dog. That's the problem. That's the
Uh,
problem.
Here's the thing. I loved Alan Wake, and keep in mind I don't have the nostalgic glasses that you do, just because I didn't play it when I was
Okay,
younger.
yeah. That's fair.
Um,
That's fair.
I am really excited for Elden Wake 2, especially after what I saw today. I
Mm.
don't care though.
Okay.
Right after I saw that, I still wanted to go play Spider Man. Like
And okay.
I'm
Okay.
telling you, you won't play after playing that first hour. You're immediately hooked. You will not regret buying Spider Man.
Yeah, no, I listen. I don't think I'll regret it. I remember the first Spider-Man, and I remember very much up all night. I had to stop myself at midnight, go to sleep, wake up at like 6:30 to be at work at 7, get off at 5, play Spider-Man until midnight again. Like I remember, I have multiple 100% saves on that game,
Yep.
multiple new plus games on that game. I know.
Did you play Miles Morales?
Ah, yes.
Good.
Only beat that one once though, just because I was an adult with more responsibilities now.
Yep. Yep. I feel that. I dude, I'd recommend you have a good weekend by playing some Spider Man. I can't recommend it enough.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. This is a busy weekend. This is the wrong weekend for me to be trying to do anything
Yeah, it's a
fun.
good
That
point.
isn't what I've already got planned.
It is Halloween
But
weekend.
yeah, no. Next weekend, we'll see. All right, mediocre gamer family. Like, comment, subscribe, share this with your friends. AJ, you got anything else you want to tell the people?
Thanks for being part of the family. Can't wait to grow up more with you guys. See ya.
Whoop whoop.